told you how many unread books I have, and now I'm going to tell you how many series I'm currently reading. Are you ready? I'm not. Hello lovely book dragons, and welcome back to another video, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Joana and I like to talk about books on this channel, specifically fantasy books. But today I am talking about the series I have ongoing, so it kind of fits the whole fantasy thing because most of these are fantasy series. I have seen this video on Sophia's channel. I think Abby did this. Someone else. Angela? Did Angela do this? I don't remember. There's a few people who've done like how many ongoing series do I have? And I decided one day to do this for myself. And then, as always, when I decide to count how many unread books I have, how many series I have ongoing, how many series I have on my shelves that I haven't started, that's also a thing. I always regret doing it, but it does keep me accountable and it does make me want to do something about it. So today I'm here to talk to you about the series that I have currently ongoing. So for me, ongoing series, I'm not insane like Abby. Abby counts series that are not finished by the author. I don't count those. I will not count, for example, the Books of Babel. I am caught up with that. I have read The Hot King. I'm not counting that because the last book isn't out. If I were caught up with George R. R. Martin's books, I would not count that as my ongoing series because Monsieur Martin, it is time to write your book, because we're waiting. These are literally series that I could be continuing on with if I choose to do so. So, first of all, let's tell you how many I have, shall we? I don't remember because I haven't looked at this in a while. I have, of course. I mean, pause this video, go ahead and guess. Like, how many do you think I have ongoing? Your bets are in? I have 45 ongoing series. 45 at the time of filming this. Thank the Lord, it's not yet August, because in August I'm going to be starting a bunch of other series. So, why am I like this? Why? Literally, why? Okay, so I have 45 ongoing series. Something I'm going to be doing from now on this channel after I've done this check-in is that I'm going to do what my friends Angela and Abby do and do a quarterly check-in on series, seeing how I'm doing, if I've DNF'd series, if I have continued on, finished off series, etc. So without further ado, let's talk about the series that I have ongoing, shall we? Because there's a lot of them. The first series I see here on my list, oh no, just kidding. It's 44 because number one is the header. So I only have 44 ongoing series, guys. And in July, I'm starting another 5. Well, problem, you say? I don't think so. So the first series I have here that I have unfinished is the Winnowing Flame Trilogy by Jen Williams, with the first book being Ninth Reign. And that is also the only book I have read as of filming this video. I am, however, planning on finishing this series this year as a buddy read with one of my best booktube friends, Ali over at Kisty Reads. We are going to be buddy reading The Bitter Twins in August and The Poison Song in September. And we have a live show for the Ninth Reign if you want to go check it out. I will leave it up here. And we have perhaps a very special guest for the conclusion live show of this series. So I'm very much looking forward to discussing the series with some other people who have read it and loved it. So this one is one that I'm definitely excited to continue on. I love the first book and I cannot wait to see where it goes on. The second series I have here is the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. This one I have been reading for a very, very, very long time. This third book came out in 2014. I started it the year it came out and I literally still have a bookmark. I've had the bookmark in this book for 7 years. Let's see. I stopped this book on page 270 7 years ago. So technically I only have this much left of this series. But because I don't remember enough of the series, I actually reread the first book 2 or 3 years ago with the hopes of finishing it and still didn't finish it. So I am counting book 2, which I need to reread, absolutely need to reread. So I'm counting that one as a, okay, I do need to reread that, and then the last one, and finally finish it out. I hope I will, because I have recently finished out Her Stranger Dream of Duology and really enjoyed it, so I think that this one, there's no reason I wouldn't like it, so I just need to get down to it. The next series is one by my all-time favorite author, Brandon Sanderson, and that is Skyward. This is his young adult sci-fi series, or one of his young adult sci-fi series. And I read Skyward, I own Starsight, haven't read it, and I pre-ordered Cytonic, which is coming out at the end of this year. Good news for this one is I'm going to be rereading Skyward with Sophia over at Sophia's Thoughts, and we're also going to be buddy reading Starsight together and Cytonic when it comes out, so I do plan on catching up with this series this year. I really enjoyed Skyward. It is very different. It has nothing to do with his Cosmere novels, and I know a lot of people don't like Skyward as much because of the main character who's very unlikable, but I think she's meant to be that way, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I read the second half of this book in one day, so I can't wait to actually reread this and continue on. I know I will enjoy the series, so and I know I will be getting caught up with it this year, so another win. Next up is another series that I know for a fact I will be finishing this year if, of course, everything goes well. I know for a fact, as if you know, if we make it through this year, I know for a fact I will be finishing it, and that is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. If you're new here, or I don't know, I say this in a lot of videos where I mention this series, but this is the series that got me into fantasy in 2014, or whenever they came out, or whenever I started reading them. And I had read up until Empire of Storms, and then I decided to wait for Kingdom of Ash, but then she decided to publish Tower of Dawn in the middle, and then I didn't continue on, and I had forgotten everything. So I have reread the first 5 books and read Assassin's Blade between 2020 and 2021, and I only have Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash left to finish out, and I will be doing that for sure this year. I am currently working towards that goal. Next up is one I don't want to talk too much about because of the author. That's Harry Potter. I didn't grow up reading Harry Potter. I grew up somewhat with the movies and not even that much. I wasn't a fantasy reader as a kid. I always say this and people think it's weird because now all I read is fantasy, but I wasn't a fantasy reader. And so when I tried to read the first book, but when I was a kid I didn't enjoy it, and then now I've read the first 2 books in the series and I think they're really good. So I will be continuing on with this series eventually, probably in the fall, but I won't be talking too much about it on my channel because we know. Next series is the Band series by Nicholas Ames. I read Kings of the Wild, I think last year, and it's a mix because I think that I went in with the wrong expectations and therefore I liked it less than I would have if I had gone in with the right expectations, because this is just like a very fun fantasy. It is not meant to be taken super seriously. It is like a D&D campaign type of thing with a rock band references. So it is just fun, but there's like no stakes, and that's something that I didn't enjoy. But I'm not sure that they're meant to be stakes. So yeah, I enjoyed this one enough that I do want to read Bloody Rose, which is the second book, which is like a companion novel. This is a series of companion novels, and the third one isn't out yet. So when I do read Bloody Rose, I'll be caught up. So I only have 1 book to go. Next up, we have a series that I read back in the day, and I honestly don't know if I'm going to finish this one. This is one that may be a DNF for a series, and that is His Fair Assassin by Robin Lefevers. There's Grave Mercy, Dark Triumphs, and Mortal Heart, and that is the one I have left. I have only the last book left, and these are also companion series, so I don't have to reread the first 2. I do have the last book. I own it. I need to read it, but I will. This is going to be one where I try it. If I see that I don't like it, I will DNF it. And this one is the original, let's say, assassin nun story that I read. Since then, I've read Red Sister, didn't like it. That series I have DNF'd. I have read Nevernight, which I did really like. So this was my original assassin nun story, and I loved Grave Mercy back in the day when I first read it. Dark Triumph I didn't like nearly as much, and so I'm very iffy about finishing it out. Next up, we have the Victoria Schwab section of this thing. We have the Villains series, which I have read Vicious. I have never read Vengeful, but she's coming out with another book I've heard, so I need to read Vengeful to be caught up. Maybe I need to reread Vicious. I'm not entirely sure that I do, but I do need to read Vengeful. So there's that. Then we have her A Darker Shade of Magic series, which I only have the last book left. I read the first 2 books twice, every time with intention of finishing the series, but never actually finishing the series. So now I won't be rereading the first 2 books because no, I won't do it. I just need to read this last book, which is a very chunky book. And yeah, that's what I've left. And then I also have read This Savage Song duology, where I only have the second book left to read. Again, I do probably need to reread the first one because it's been so long since I read it. And this one has a very intriguing concept. This is the your sins actually create monsters concept, and I did really, really like the first one, so I may reread it and then read the second one, and I think that shouldn't be a problem because that was a very good series, and yeah, I do need to do that. Then we have a middle grade series. We have Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. I read the first book 2018, 2019, something like that, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was such a fun middle grade fantasy story about a young girl named Morgan Crow who is destined to die on the eve of her 11th birthday, but then she gets whisked away by a man called Jupiter North to another more magical land, and she gets into a magical school. A lot of people compare this to Harry Potter. It's not. It's just a magical school setting for children, so that's probably why I guess the comparison. It was so fun. It was so cute. I do own the next 2 installments, and I do want to continue on with the series just because it is a very fun time. Then we have a series that I started this year, which is the Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden, with the first book being The Bear and the Nightingale. That is also the only book I have read in this series. I need to continue on with The Girl in the Tower and The Winter of the Witch, but I am waiting for the winter months to do so because these books are very cold in a cold Russian setting, and I like to read them in the winter. I gave the first book 3 stars, but I think I wasn't generous enough with that one. But I liked it, or maybe I was, maybe it was just, I liked it, but there was something missing. And I think that the something missing is going to come in the second book, because in the first book, we really follow Vasya from, she wasn't even born yet, to adulthood. And I think that now in the next books, because she's an adult, I will like it a lot more. and I'm very excited to actually continue on with this series. Now we have 2 series I see that I am not even sure I will continue on. The first one is very controversial. Angela, if you're watching, maybe you want to click away. And that is the Broken Earth series by N.K. Jemisin. It's really weird why I don't want to continue this, because I have read the 5th season, and when I read it, I gave it 5 stars. But I was telling Sophia this was a 5 stars from the head and not from the heart. You know, there's books where no matter how people say they are not objectively not good, like A Court of Mist and Fury, a lot of people say this is a trash book. Mayhaps, but I do give it 5 stars. I do love that book so much. It means so much to me in my heart. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, it's not a perfectly executed book, fine, whatever. But in my heart, I give it 5 stars because I love it. And here, with the 5th season, it's the opposite. I didn't love it with my heart, but I did it with my brain. Does that make any sense whatsoever? I don't know. But I did start The Obelisk Gate after reading the 5th season, and I did DNF that one because I just was not invested. And now I don't know, because I would have to reread the 5th season, and I don't feel like rereading the 5th season. I haven't felt like rereading the 5th season in a very long time. So I don't know. And the next series that I probably am not going to continue on, but I don't know for sure yet. In my check-in later, we will see at the end of the fall. But the next one is Children of Blood and Bone, that series. The first book, I gave 5 stars when I first read it, but it's not a 5-star book. It's probably like a 3-star book. It was fine. It was fun. It was cool to read, but I heard so many negative reviews about the sequel. I do want to reread the first one, and if I still want to continue on, I will read the second one. But if that one is bad, I will definitely DNF the series. So I'm willing to reread the first one. I'm willing to give this one another go. But I don't know if I will continue. There's no news for the next books in this series, and it's been a very long time. I don't know that I have enough interest. I may just get rid of the second book and keep the first one. But if I on reread don't like the first one, I don't know this one. It's also the jury's out on this one. But this one is more than likely that I'll DNF the series. Yeah, it's definitely more than likely. Next up is a series that I am actually going to be finishing out this year, and that is the Serpent and Dove trilogy by Shelby Mahurin. This is like a Sarah J. Maas kind of situation. This is a fantasy romance that so many people have hated, and I'm like, but it is so fun. It's such a fun series. The first book is Serpent and Dove, then we have Blood and Honey and Gods and Monsters, which is actually coming out now in July or in August. And I'm going to be buddy reading this whole series with some of my lovely friends, Sophia, Ali, Abby, Vish, Grace, and Katie. And we're going to be buddy reading this, and it's going to be so much fun. We're starting in August with book 1, rereading that one, and then moving on to the rest of the series and finishing it out. This is a series where we have a witch and a witch hunter who have to get married because of political reasons and stuff. And it's just a ton of fun. I'm very excited to continue on with this fantasy romance. And yeah. Then I have a series that I started a million years ago. That's The Queen's Thief, with so many books out. The Thief, The Queen of Atolia, The King of Atolia, A Conspiracy of Kings, Thick as Thieves, and The Return of the Thief. I read The Thief twice because I wanted to continue on with it. So I read it, and then I wanted to continue on, didn't. Reread The Thief to continue on, didn't. And actually, I will be reading Queen of Atolia very soon-ish. I'm gonna try and sneak it in still in July. By the time you're watching this, July is maybe already almost over. For me, I still have like a weekish left. So I'm gonna try and squeeze it in July or in August because I do need to read it for a separate vlog. So I will be continuing on with the series. And I have the third one, The King's Thief. So I don't know how much of this series I'll read, depending on how much I like the next books. But yeah, I don't remember much of the first one, but I have it on good authority that I don't need to reread it to continue on. The jury's out on this next series too, and that is Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. So the first one is Rebel of the Sands, then we have Traitors to the Throne and Hero at the Fall. I own the first 2 books, have read the first one. I read it back in the day in one day because I was trying to read a lot of books in 2017 or whatever it was whenever I read this in one day, and I don't know. I don't remember what I rated it. I have no recollection of this book. I know it's like a desert-inspired fantasy. That's all I remember. I don't know if I want to continue on. This one is really like, it could go either way. For now, I'm not DNFing it, but I could DNF it upon a reread or something like that. Then we have another desert-inspired fantasy, which I do want to finish, and that is the Books of Amba, which the first one was Empire of Sand. I actually have a reading vlog from last year reading this book, which I will leave linked up here. And the second book is actually just a companion novel, and it's Realm of Ash, which I own, so I do want to finish that series. It's only one book, I should just do it. Then we have a doozy, and that is A Song of Ice and Fire by George R. R. Martin. I have read A Game of Thrones, I have read A Clash of Kings, I have read A Storm of Swords. Yeah, I still need to read A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons. I do want to reread the first 3 to get to those. Monsieur Martin, where's the book? Where is the book? And the sad part is, even if Winds of Winter comes out, guys, we will never get A Dream of Spring. Dream of Spring is literally a dream. Then we have a series that I definitely want to finish out this year, and that's the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee, the first one being Jade City. I read this one, I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 5 stars, but it's more like a 4 stars in hindsight. I don't have it as high in my feelings as I do other books that are 5 stars, so maybe it's a 4.5 stars, but regardless, it's still a very fun mafia, magical mafia book, and I own Jade War. I will be reading this one when Jade Legacy comes out in December, so I want to finish out the series at the end of this year / beginning of 2022, depending on when Jade Legacy arrives at my house, but I do want to finish out the series. Then we have The Witcher. I read the first 2 short story collections and the first book. I read The Last Wish, Sword of Destiny, and Blood of Elves, so I am on Time of Contempt, and I don't know, there's something keeping me from reading them. I've heard so many people DNF this series, I don't know. I will try the books, I do want to continue on, so I will continue on. But if at some point I'm super bored, I may DNF it, but I don't know, because I own all of them. Like, they're all right. Oh, you cannot see them. They're right on this shelf. But I do own all of them. I do want to read them, but I guess we'll see. And then there's a series that I'm definitely going to be finishing out here, and that is the Daevabad trilogy. I reread City of Brass and the Kingdom of Copper this year, and I'm going to be reading Empire of Gold for the first time and finishing out the series. I've been buddy reading this one with Vish and Abby and Ali, and we have been doing live shows about them. So this is actually Vish's Discord buddy read. So there's more people buddy reading it, but we have been doing the live shows. And yeah, this one I'm definitely going to be finishing out very soon here. And I'm just excited. I love this series, one of my favorites. Then we have the Founders trilogy by Robert Jackson Bennett, which I did read Foundry Side. I own Shorefall, and there's no news about the 3rd book, so that's why I haven't continued on. And it's also not on my priority list, because I do need to reread the first one and then read the second one, but I will only do so when the 3rd book comes out. So then we have the Last Magician series, where it's The Last Magician, The Devil's Thief, The Serpent's Curse, and then they did add a 4th book. I thought it was going to be a trilogy. This is a YA time travel fun story. I really enjoyed it. It's really fun. The first time I gave The Last Magician 5 stars, then I reread it because I thought Serpent's Curse was supposed to come out last year. So I was rereading it to finish out. Then they said, no, it's pushed back to 2021. So then I didn't continue on with reading The Devil's Thief because I was waiting on the 3rd book. And now they announced it's going to be a 4th book. So now I'm just holding off until that 4th book comes out or is close to coming out. And then I won't reread The Last Magician because now that I've reread it once, I remember it. But then I will continue on with the series. This one I definitely want to finish, but I'm also just waiting for the 4th book to come out so that I don't have to do any rereads anymore. Then we have one, I don't know about this one. This is the Lumatia Chronicles by Merlina Marchetta, the first book being Finnegan of the Rock. Then we have Foray of the Exiles and Quintana of Sharin. I did read Finnegan of the Rock. I don't remember enjoying it that much, but this is one of Regan over at Bruce Project's favorite series, and back then I read everything she recommended. And I don't know about this one, honestly, guys. I still own all of the books, but I never want to read it. So this is one that I feel like if I don't feel any inkling in the next year or so to read it, I'm just gonna DNF it and get rid of it. Same for this one. This is the Gemma Doyle trilogy by Libba Bray. We have A Great and Terrible Beauty, Rebel Angels, and The Sweet Far Thing. I read the first book back in like 2015. No, before that, 2013 or 14, something like that. This is like a story where the main character goes to a boarding school and then there's like magical paranormal things happening, and it sounded a lot of fun, but I just don't know if I want to continue with this one. Then we have The Burning, which is The Rage of Dragons. I do need to read the 2nd book, but I do want to wait until more books are out, I think, at this point, because I don't want to have to reread all the time. Then we have a French series, La Passe Miroir, which the first book is Les Fiancés de l'Hiver, which has been translated into A Winter's Promise. I definitely own all 4 books. I do want to reread, maybe I'll just reread the whole thing, or I'll reread the 2nd book or something like that. I do have the last 2 books that I haven't finished. Those are the ones I haven't finished. I do want to do some rereads, I think. I don't know yet, but I do want to finish this one out, for sure. Then we have Le Paris des Merveilles, another French series with Les Enchantements de Beaumère being the first one. I really enjoyed that one. I do want to continue on with this one as well. Then we have Scythe by Neil Schusterman. I read Scythe twice, then I read Thunderhead, and I thought I was finally going to finish it out, and then I didn't read The Toll. So I do just only have The Toll left. I will read a recap of Thunderhead and finish out The Toll. I do want to do that this year, just to get it off my series list. We have the Aurora Cycle by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, right? Yeah. And the first book is Aurora Rising, then we have Aurora Burning, and then we have Aurora's End, which should be out or should be coming out very soon. I read Aurora Rising and I really enjoyed it, but I don't know if it was a me thing back then or not. I don't have fond memories of it though. So this one, I own the first 2 books. I may reread the first one and then see how I feel about it, and probably will continue. I have interest in continuing, so I guess we'll see. Then we have The Dark Artifices, which is a Cassandra Clare series. We have Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, Queen of Air and Darkness. I have read Lady Midnight and I do want to continue on with this one as well. I just don't know when, as always. Then we have one where I'm not sure if I'm going to continue on. That is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. It's a quartet. Now all the books are out. I read the first 2 books back when they came out, as they were coming out. And then I stopped because it took forever for them to come out. And now I would have to reread the whole thing. I don't know if I'm going to do so. I guess we will see. Probably I may do it on audio. I still have some interest in it because of how much I liked it back then, but I've changed so much as a reader since these books came out that I don't know. Then we have Furyborn by Claire Legrand, which I definitely want to. I read Furyborn. I own Kingsbane, and Lightbringer came out, but I haven't read it. And I do want to reread Furyborn and see how I feel about it, and then continue on. This series is about, we have 2 timelines and 2 prophesied queens, and just those things are like such buzzwords for me, and I do want to continue on. Then we have The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chakshi. I read the first one, and I don't know if the third one is out or coming out. I don't know if I want to continue this one on, to be very honest with you guys. I thought it was very fun, but it was like, for me, a lot of people say, don't say this because it's not true. But for me, it did feel like a knockoff Six of Crows. I'm sorry, that's what it felt like. And I don't know. I thought it was fun. It was really fun, but I don't know if I want to continue on with it. And then we have the Powder Mage series. I think I'm DNFing this one. I did not like Promise of Blood that much. I give it 3 stars, but it's only more like a 2 stars. And I have no desire to continue on. This is literally, I don't even own the next books. I may just DNF the series and keep the first one because I own it and maybe eventually get rid of it. I don't know, it's Flintlock Fantasy, but it wasn't that good. Then we have the Reckoners series by Brandon Sanderson. This is his other YA sci-fi, with Steelheart being the first one. I know a lot of people hate it, but I think it's so fun. Like, this is if superheroes, like, you know The Boys, if superheroes were bad, but this is the Brandon Sanderson version of that. And I need to reread it because I know, like, a lot of people hate it, but I remember having a good time reading that first book. And I think I will just, you know, for like a fun time, why not? And I do want to continue because it's Brandon Sanderson and I remember enjoying the first one. So, and Melvin, my husband, really likes them and he thinks they're so fun and fast paced. So, guess I do want to continue on with this one. Then we had From Blood and Ash, and this one, now I don't know. I have a video, the book tasting Abby Salter, where I read the first one and I really enjoyed it. That was super fun. Like Sarah J. Maas, Cassandra Clare, Serpent and Dove type of books, you know, where you read them and you have so much fun with them. And I hear the second book is amazing, but I hear the third one is a big letdown and I don't want to read that. So I may read the second one and just never continue on. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Then we have 2 Discworld series. We have the City Watch and the Death books. I've read Guards, and Mort, and I definitely want to continue on with those without the shadow of a doubt. These are going to be my palette cleanser books. I am very excited for these. Then we have the Brown Sisters by Talia Hibbert, which is a romance series. I will continue on because these are just fun palette cleansers again. We have Miss Point Era 2, which I started. I've read Alloy Law, Shadows of Selves. I only have 1 book left, which I will definitely be finishing on in July or in the very early August. So definitely finishing these off. Same for Long Price Quartet. I think my memory card is getting full, which is why I'm speeding through the rest of this video. Long Price Quartet, I have A Shadow in Summer, which I've read. I'm starting in Betrayal in Winter today. Then I have An Autumn War and The Price of Spring left. I'm definitely going to continue on. And the Wayfarer series, which is the Small Ways to a Longer Planet, and then her other very long titled books, which I definitely want to continue as of now. So those are all my series that I have ongoing. That's a lot. Some of them will be easy to finish off. Some of them I need to decide if I want to DNF them, but those are the series. Let me know in the comments down below how many ongoing series you have, and let me know which ones you think I should DNF and or continue on as priorities. And yeah, that is going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy reading. Bye guys.